This is little Ruby. She's an 8-month-old little Spoodle and she's a gorgeous little girl. However, when she went for a walk, she was causing her owners a whole host of problems. Here's one little trick which helped to turn her around. As you can see, as soon as the lead came out, even in the back garden, little Ruby would go pretty crazy, pulling and yanking and mouthing and chewing the lead. She was a small dog, but she could pull pretty strong, and she was tenacious. She didn't give up. Even on long walks, she'd keep pulling all the way down the road and across the street. She'd be dragging you here, dragging you there. She'd even drag you back home. There she goes. She just doesn't stop. Pull, pull, pull. Chew, chew, chew. It was a nightmare. Let me show you a simple way of correcting this behaviour. As always, the key to everything was gaining Ruby's trust and respect, and I did that through implementing and putting in place those 5 golden rules. Here's a little trick, though, that helped me establish a little bit more respect on the walk. One very simple way of getting her to change her behaviour is to put a little chain through her collar, and so that the first 1.5 foot of her leash is now a chain, but she still has her soft little fabric collar on. Now Ruby's still free to jump up and chew the chain if she wants to. It's her choice. There's going to be no shouting or pulling on the lead. We're going to let her change her own behaviour of her own free will. As you can see here, she thinks about it, she has a look, and she says, I think I'll try and jump up and get the lead. She has one good jump. There you go. Tries to get it. She can't reach it, and she says, fine. It's as quick as that. Now she's a changed dog. She's not going to bother chewing the chain anymore. She's just going to walk nice and sensibly. Perfect. As you can see, very soon she was walking perfectly by my side, happy to walk behind me, very loose lead, and she's not chewing it. And here we are on the way back home, still a very loose leash. And remember, this is outside. We're not in the garden anymore. Far more distractions, but she's perfect. And once she's changed her behaviour, we can revert back to the old lead. No chain required. It was a temporary training tool. By putting in place the 5 golden rules of the pack leader, I gained Amber's immediate respect. She knew she could trust me and should follow me, and so walking nicely on the lead by my side made perfect sense to her. A very common issue that people are faced with is trying to keep the dog out of certain areas in the house. Here's Stanley. He's a great Wheaten Terrier. However, he loves nothing more than to get under people's feet in the kitchen, especially when you're trying to make the dinner. Here I'm going to demonstrate to you a very simple way of showing your dog exactly where it is and where it isn't allowed. To Stanley's owners, it seems like either he doesn't know exactly where he's allowed or he doesn't care. I'd suggest it actually is a little bit of both. So if this is the line where you don't want the dog to go into the kitchen, the dog can't really see exactly where it is. We have it in our own minds as to where we think it is. But to make it really clear to the dog, all we're going to do is put down some sticky tape. It's crucial that there's a very obvious line for your dog, such as a change in the floor surface from wood to carpet. If there isn't, you need to make a clear dividing line using tape. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be forever. All we're going to do is kind of encourage him to come in. He already knows there's something up. There's a line there. So look at that. We haven't even trained him. That line has just gone down. He knows.
Good boy, Stan.
Outside, out the kitchen. Good boy.
Good boy.
Here I'm demonstrating how clear the message is to Stanley. I'm dropping some food on the floor and he still doesn't come in. So we haven't really, I mean, you've been training him a little bit to keep him out of the kitchen, but you can see the power of that white line. He almost has instantaneously realised that is the line. It's now very clear.
I don't know how you'll feel.
Out the kitchen, out the kitchen. Good boy, good boy.
Okay, so out of the kitchen when he backs off, praise him. When
he's out the kitchen, we praise him. Now what we don't want to do is get him to think that every time he comes in here, if we chase him out, he gets a treat. We want him off the line. So we're actually going to say, out the kitchen, good boy. We don't want him in the kitchen at all. And he's not allowed to touch that line with his foot. Because what dogs love to do is just edge further and further and further into the kitchen. That has said to him, you don't even stand on the line.
Okay.
And he's saying, look,
Oh.
and you can see you can use any sort of energy to drive them out. Even just stamping your feet a little bit, moving towards him. Maybe, out the kitchen, out the kitchen.
Are you making sure you don't look at him, or are you looking
I'm
at
not
him?
looking at him now to invite him in.
Right.
If you look at him, you invite him. So I'm deliberately ignoring him. And you can see he's good. Now, when he's being like that, that's a very good boy. He's been outside for a good long time, out the kitchen. So good boy, good boy. Very good boy, darling. A little bit further. Using this calm, consistent method, it'll take only a little time before your dog, like Stanley, will get the message and understand which side of the line that he's allowed on. As with any training, it'll have maximum effect only if your dog listens to you because you're the pack leader and you've already implemented the 5 golden rules that are shown in the first section of the members site. If you aren't a member yet, then hopefully this will give you a clearer idea of how to communicate to your dog and how willing they are to listen to you when they respect all your decisions. In this video, I'm going to show you how to redirect your dog's chewing onto one of its toys. It's almost impossible to stop dogs chewing. They love it, and there's nothing wrong with it so long as they're not chewing the furniture or your possessions. Redirecting is a 3-step process. First of all, you need to find a toy which your dog is allowed to chew, such as a piece of wood or a raggy doll or something. Then you take your dog by the collar, move it away, and thirdly, you give it the toy that it is allowed to chew. So there's those 3 steps very quickly. We'll go through them again in detail. The key is that we're not actually stopping Kenai from chewing. We're just redirecting it. So many dogs and puppies love to chew. There's nothing wrong with that. We've just got to help them understand some things they're not allowed to chew and other things it's fine to chew them. Here we are a little bit later on in the consultation and Kenai's chewing the table again. This is one of the big issues with Kenai. He's been chewing the table for several months. So it's a habit that's going to take a few hours at least to break. All we do is move him away very quietly and calmly. We don't give him any attention by speaking to him, and we simply redirect him back onto his stick. And look how quickly he trots off with it this time. Again, Kenai just needs to be shown the correct way to behave. He doesn't need to be shouted at. He doesn't need to be tapped on the nose. He just needs to be shown a kind and gentle way to behave correctly. As with all things, practice makes perfect, so take your time, stay calm, and just keep giving your dog the same calm, consistent consequences of actions, and your dog will get it in the end. If your dog insists on chewing the couch after you've redirected them onto their little chew toy, then you can consider putting them into an isolation. You leave them there until they've stopped barking, and when they come out, they'll think twice about going back to chewing the couch. Make sure your dog knows which toys are its to chew by putting them into its pen or handing them and saying, "This is for Molly." Distraction is another word for the simple method that we've just gone through. Of course, it's always better if you can actually move the things off the floor. Here there's some wire meshing and a box of nails lying on the ground. Gemma's getting stuck into them. We all leave things around, but if you can move things off the ground, do that. It's so much simpler. It keeps you sane, it keeps you calm, and it prevents the dog from ever even making mistakes. Set your dog up to win. All we're going to do now is bring over a little distraction, and you'll see how quickly Jenna goes, "Fine, yep, that's my toy. I'm happy to chew that. Perfect." Of course, inside the site, there's a whole load more videos about how to stop chewing and mouthing and biting and stealing things. But just remember, there's always those practical things, such as not leaving things around on the floor. And the most important thing of all is establishing yourself as the pack leader. If you're not the pack leader, then of course your dog never really will take any notice of you, and everything will become a game. That's all covered off inside the onlinedogtrainer.com. I hope you join us. We're going to have lots of fun together. In this video clip, we're going to have a look at something called calming signals. We'll cover them off in more detail inside the site. But just to give you a taster, calming signals are messages which dogs use to communicate between each other, to say, I'm not a threat, I'm no danger, you don't need to worry about me. Now this is Jason. He's an entire male, and he's weighing in at around 40 kilograms, and he's the biggest boxer I've ever met. His father was an Australian champion, and he's dog aggressive, except for with his mother Lucy that he lives with. Here's Jason when he first sees my dog Peanut. He's locked on, he's focused, but believe it or not, he's actually doing a lot better than he normally does. He's normally barking and aggressive, but because I've shown him I'm the pack leader, we're going to be able to calm him down. This is my dog Peanut. She's well trained, very highly socialized, and she actually helps me during consultations. She's showing me how close she can get. She stops and looks to the right and to the left and back to the right. She's not making eye contact with Jason, and she's keeping her distance. These are all calming signals, and now she turns and moves away, turning her back on Jason. So she's turned her back on him, she's averted her eyes. They're the first two calming signals. She's saying, I'm not dangerous, I'm not a threat to you. And here's the third signal. She's sniffing the ground. She's actually saying, I'd rather smell the roses than get aggressive and stare at you. It's a calming signal, but to the untrained eye, you'd never even notice it. Jason hasn't met another dog for years, and yet if you look at the leash that I'm holding, it's relaxed. He's actually calming down. He's doing remarkably well. And this is in a large part due to the calming signals that Peanut's given him. Normally this dog Jason would be barking, aggressive and trying to attack the other dog, but he's not. So next time you see a dog displaying some of these signals, recognize them for what they are. They aren't random, but highly sophisticated methods of communicating that I'm no threat, calm down. There's the look away, then there's the turning away from the other dog, and there's the sniffing the ground. And these are just three of the many subtle ways that dogs communicate. Inside the onlinedogtrainer.com, we'll go through a whole load of other ways that dogs communicate through their body language. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make sure your dog's first experience with water is a good one. This is Nala. She's an older puppy, and as you can tell, she's never been near water, and she's being very wary. What we're going to do here is stay calm, be patient, and have fun in the water. A quick way to get this message across is with the use of other dogs, and then in her own time, she'll come and join us. If you can't find any dogs, then don't worry. But roll up your trousers, wade in a couple of inches, or cross the little stream, walk into the lake a little bit, and just start enjoying it yourself. Remember, the most important thing is not to put any pressure on your dog. If you do that, you're going to stress your dog. You must let your dog have good experiences the whole time and let them enjoy the experience. Here, Nala's getting more and more excited. Arona's on the other side of the bank. There's two dogs playing in the water. We're throwing sticks in, and before you know it, she's just going to make the plunge and go for it. All the time that she's running around, she's getting more and more wet. She's falling in a couple of times, but she's having a good experience. I'm confident that this puppy's going to love the water once she's in it, but if you're not so sure, then find a big puddle or a shallow stream of just a couple of inches and get them used to that first. It's best to start off with just staying in one area. That way your dog can get accustomed to the area, the depth of the water, and start figuring out what it is that they can do and just enjoying themselves without the worry of moving on to a new place and new surroundings. We've now been waiting about 15 minutes. Nala's excitement's building. She can't hold out much longer. Here little Nala's barking was a sure sign that she couldn't handle it anymore. That's excited barking, nothing wrong with that. She was desperate to get in the water. But now the dogs have crossed to the other side and Nala's stuck on that bank. And again, she's going to have to figure out the only way across is to swim. And there you have it. Diving, swimming, jumping, you basically can't stop them once they get in. But the reason she's loving it so much is because we didn't push her to start with. It's that patience at the beginning which pays off for the rest of your dog's life. So the key is take your time, stay relaxed and calm, and don't put any pressure on your dog. If you can, wade in a little bit, walk in and out the water, getting deeper and deeper, encouraging your dog by throwing sticks, or find some other dogs that your dog can play with and learn from. Make sure it's not too deep, make sure it's safe for your puppy, and stay in one spot, letting them become accustomed to it. Use sticks to entice them in the water further, and just take your time. Remember, patience is the key. Before you know it, your dog will be swimming like an Olympic swimmer, and then you simply won't be able to stop them.